4 real outcomes of aliens visiting Earth. Alien contact. To some, the idea has become an obsession, while others dismiss it as nothing that would happen in this reality. But have you ever thought about what would actually happen if alien life, alien beings, suddenly arrived here on Earth? What would we actually do? These are 4 real outcomes of aliens visiting Earth. Number 4. Mass hysteria. What would you do if you suddenly woke up in the middle of the night and your house or apartment was engulfed in flames? The majority of us would panic at the sight of fire and smoke. It would take us seconds, maybe even minutes, for us to get our bearings and react accordingly. It's the same type of reaction we'd have if aliens suddenly appeared out of the sky without warning. Think about it. If an alien craft loomed overhead of the skies in New York City or Washington like Independence Day, the first thing it would cause is widespread panic and hysteria. During natural disasters like fires or after a storm, it's common for people to ride and loot because people get a sense that law goes out the window and it's every man or woman for themselves. Humans have an innate instinct to survive. Our natural response to any invader is to either fight or flight. Unfortunately, our instincts take over before reason comes into play, and we justify erratic and dangerous actions as the right thing because, hey, the world is falling apart and I need to live. At the core, mass hysteria occurs when a sudden event happens where nobody knows how to react properly. Paranoia and fear then sets in. Aliens arriving, especially if we had no idea of their existence prior to it, would cause a panic over what to do next. Regardless of whether their intent was to be hostile or peaceful, the idea of anything new appearing from out of nowhere usually causes humans to react with fear. Some people will go into shock, others will react with violent outbursts, hence looting and riots. It would cause even more hysteria if, for instance, we found out the government or world leaders knew of the impending invasion. The story of the War of the Worlds broadcast that supposedly caused mass hysteria is often cited as an example of an alien invasion panic. Many people claim, however, that reports were nothing but a hoax, but regardless, the likelihood of the described hysteria is close to what might happen if an invasion occurred today, but only much more deadly because it would be a reality and not a false broadcast. According to those stories back then, Orson Welles broadcasted his radio play to thousands of listeners. It was narrated in a news bulletin format without any commercial breaks, making people think that an actual alien invasion was taking place in real time. In response, those who listened to the broadcast called the station by the hundreds to try and confirm if it was true. People became hysterical, and some began reporting they could smell poison gas in the air. Others even reported seeing flashes in the distance. Historians say the broadcast reached 1.7 million homes, and out of those, over 1.2 million exhibited hysterical behavior in reaction to it. This was a time when no global communication system was easily accessible. Just imagine what it would be like to experience a blow-by-blow account of an alien landing or appearance. It would be worldwide news in a matter of minutes today. The reach of social media means mass hysteria would set in all over the globe in an instant. So if you aren't ready for it, and if it does happen, be prepared to do whatever you can to survive at all costs necessary. Number 3. The Outer Space Treaty. In 1967, a treaty surrounding the use and abuse of space was outlined for the countries of the world to use as a basis for space travel exploration and experiments. On January 27, 1967, the Outer Space Treaty was up for signatures by the United Kingdom, United States, and the Soviet Union. By October of 2018, there have now been 107 countries that have signed on and agreed to the treaty, while 23 other countries signed the treaty but never completed ratification. It's crucial to mention the Outer Space Treaty doesn't limit or ban any military activity or use of weapons in outer space, except for weapons of mass destruction. Some of the key points outlined in this treaty indicates no signing country or government can claim any area of outer space or celestial body to be their own. Astronauts sent to space serve as representatives of all humanity, and they cannot act as representatives of their own country, claiming land for their own, etc. Aside from this, the treaty also lays out that it's forbidden for any country or space activity to be launched if it will result in contamination or irreparable damage to an object in space. These outlines are meant to preserve space as a peaceful area. If aliens visited Earth, it's a possibility the countries who signed the treaty will be bound to it, and instead of acting on their own will be forced to act as a worldwide government or at least consult with each other on what needs to be done. Of course, there's the question of whether the aliens visiting are hostile or not, and what their intentions are for visiting the planet. Context would be everything in how we react. Supposing aliens do arrive on Earth, then it's safe to assume they have advanced technology and are smart enough to navigate the universe. Our first instinct would be to find out what they want from us and our planet. Are they here to observe? Are they just curious? Did their ship simply run out of gas a la District 9 and thus left them stuck here? If we manage to make contact with the aliens and we find out they're here for a friendly visit, the Outer Space Treaty might apply and that governments treat them the same equal rights as those they afford non-living celestial objects, meaning no one lay claim to them or their technology. Of course, the more crucial question is, how do they view us? While it's tough to speculate on these things, it's possible they could look down on us as an inferior race and therefore believe they have every right to do as they please when they reach Earth. And if that's the case, then the Outer Space Treaty may not matter, as we'll need to do everything we can just to survive. Number 2. Extinction of the human race. If the aliens that arrive insist on exerting dominance on humanity, it could spell the extinction of the human race. Let's suppose the aliens are hostile. As humans, we would react the same way natives reacted to foreign invaders who mysteriously showed up on their shore to claim their land and fight them. Unfortunately, it would also end the same way as the fight the native tribes fought. They lost the battle in part to inferior weapons and tactics. As a result, the human race could be driven to extinction. Mass casualties from wars or insurgencies would erupt and we would struggle to make it as a species. And if the aliens are far more advanced than humans, then our chances of fighting back and winning will be slim, if nothing at all. Even though there's no outright contingency outlined in case a hostile alien invasion does happen, it's highly possible governments of the world, even the United Nations, might have secret protocols in place if such a thing breaks out. But it's likely the preservation of humanity is still the utmost priority. In fact, there might even be private organizations or unknown government branches already doing this. Maybe not specifically for a possible alien invasion, but maybe in preparation for a global natural catastrophe. How would they go about preserving the human species? Collecting specimens and everything about our existence in the form of historical time capsules is one way. The top world leaders and thinkers would also likely be collected as a contingency plan to help win against the invasion. We've seen this played out in movies and books, where the top brains are gathered so they can all help figure out what to do next and how best to fight back. This is only possible, though, if humans had an idea the aliens were coming in the first place. In many ways, advanced technology could become a hindrance instead of a helper. If a more advanced species is taking over, then they would also have full control of our current technology. As humans, we would need to revert to a more primitive type of communication. This means having the capacity to share information about the enemy, how to defeat them, and how to move forward. As for weapons, there's always the nuke, but it's a double-edged sword. It would also mean countless human lives will be destroyed when the aliens retaliate. Plus, it's possible they have a similar, if not more destructive weapon they could use to eliminate humankind in an instant. If for some reason aliens decide to keep a portion of the human race alive, then our meek survival would remain with the few of those who are allowed to live. Number 1. Unification of the world through advancements. Most of the scenarios presented so far have ended in a more or less unpleasant ending for humankind. But there's another outcome to the arrival of a highly advanced alien, and that is, it could be the one thing that unifies mankind and the world through technology and advancements. The unification can happen in two ways. First, it can happen under duress. If hostile aliens attack, we might be forced to come together and develop advanced weapons much faster to rival that of the enemy. Securing alien technology and reverse engineering could be a likely route under this scenario. The other unification through advancement scenario would be a peaceful one, that aliens are here simply to help us. We find out their intentions, and the world and its countries agree to work with them, learning various alien technologies that could help us move our societies forward. While it seems impossible for the second scenario to play out because we don't have any baseline of this happening at all since we've only seen war and devastation between nations and different people, it can still be a possibility. Introducing a third party like an alien civilization could be the key to making unification through advancements a possibility. This is especially true if it would be mandated by the alien visitors themselves. Having an alien threat or mandate could help us get our priorities straight and simply fix whatever needs fixing as soon as possible. The idea of alien unification, whether forced or through subjugation, is definitely a possible outcome. We would all put aside our differences, work together for a better life, and start thinking of the bigger picture. So there were 4 real outcomes of aliens visiting Earth. Real or imagined, an alien invasion could prove to be our salvation or our eventual downfall. In the end, we'll just have to wait and see if it does in fact eventually happen. We have new videos coming out every Wednesday and Saturday, so please remember to subscribe to our channel because you won't want to miss out on what's coming next. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.